Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. I'm hot off the plane from Orlando, Florida. Sold out. We did so many shows this week in Orlando. We broke the record, highest grossing door. I think this is it's the 8th comedy club. I broke the record for the gross. Sacramento, Columbus, DC, Richmond, Virginia Beach, Orlando. So maybe it's 6. Am I forgetting somebody? I don't know, but that's 6. And it's all happened in the last 6 months since July. So it's been a wild ride. I guess some comics could probably sell as many tickets as I am right now, but you got to be willing to work that hard. Because I'll add a day. Because I know this is coming to an end as far as the clubs on the weekends like this. I'm moving into theaters. And so the money you can generate in a comedy club, I'm like, let me just grind these last couple weeks of clubs and just do 3 shows Saturday, 3 shows Sunday. Sometimes I'll have Monday, sometimes I won't. But I just look at I'm going to try to pull as much money as I can out of the comedy clubs while I can. Still healthy, still young enough. I'm not that young, but I'm young enough that I can handle it. And the thing is, it's not really... My agent and my manager will call me, checking on me and stuff. You all right? You all right? I know I had the chest issue earlier, right? But that's gone away. Knock on wood. Honestly, I feel really good right now, health-wise. I'm watching what I eat. I'm not overeating. That's my thing. I eat healthy, but sometimes I overeat. I'll eat too much in one setting, so I don't do that anymore. And, comedians, you could be eating late, eating the wrong foods. Don't drink soda. Don't eat fried food. You know what you're supposed to put in your body. That's what's so funny when people ask me, they'll be like, "Dang, you look like you lost a little weight." I go, "Yeah, I just tell them, yeah, I'm just watching what I eat, exercise a little bit." And they'll be like, "Well, what are you eating though?" And I'd be looking at people you know what to eat. We all know what we should and should not be eating. I think you always want that trainer or nutritionist to say, "Yeah, burgers and fries is fine. You're good. Don't worry about it. Candy, you're good." We all know what we're supposed to eat. Fruit, vegetables, organic meats, grass-fed beef. We all know. If you can buy it in a box, it's probably not the healthiest. There was a chef in Columbus, Ohio. He told me the simplest thing if you want to stay healthy. He said, when you go to the grocery store, stay on the outside. Because all the outside is the freezers and refrigerators. On the inside is all the boxed processed foods. If you think about it, there is some merit to that. I mean, there are obviously some sugar drinks on the outside, and then there's some yogurts you probably shouldn't eat. But if you really think about it, when you go to the grocery store, don't go down any aisle. Stay on the outside. It kind of made sense. But so I'm off this week. Finally took a week off. And then next week, I'm going to Captain Brian's in Naples, and then I go to Miami. We just added 2 shows in Miami. I'm there the 18th, 19th, and 20th of December. And the first 5 shows sold out. So we just added a second one Thursday at 10:30. And we added a third show Saturday at 5 o'clock. Was it 4 or 5? 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So I'm just going to grind it. And then I got a couple of days off, taking the fam on a little mini vacation. And then I start the end of the year run, which is going to be freaking bananas. December 26th, St. Pete, Florida. December 27th, Jacksonville, Florida. December 28th, New Orleans. Just added a show in New Orleans. So we got 2 shows in New Orleans on the 28th. December 29th, Mobile, Alabama. December 30th, San Antonio, Texas. Added a second show in San Antonio. We're going later in San Antonio. We're going to do 7 and 10. And then December 31st, Grand Prairie, Texas Trust Theater. So, and then I'm going to take a couple weeks off again. So I'm taking care of myself for those of you that are concerned about my well-being. But it's like you work your whole life for what's going on in my life right now. To be selling out the clubs, knowing you're moving on to theaters come 2026 and doing the big No Hard Feelings tour, which tickets are flying. You're doing so good on ticket sales. So thanks, you guys. I always tell, what I'm going to say it again. If you want to know where I'm at and you want the correct ticket links, not the bootleg ticket links, just go to GaryOwen.live. That's all you got to do. All my tour dates are on there. So, yep. Things are going pretty good right now as far as ticket sales and stuff. It's mind-boggling because when I settled with Orlando this weekend, they got one of the best GMs, Krista, in the business. And she wrote my check out. And she was like, this is the biggest check I've ever written. And she's worked there for 20 years. And she's, I remember you were coming here and hardly making any money. And I was like, I know. I told her, I said, yeah, you guys just put us up at the Courtyard Marriott behind this gas station that once the club closed, that became a club. I remember looking out my window going, oh, they wilding down there. Motorcycles and girls twerking and all kinds of stuff down at that gas station downtown Orlando. But it's a good time right now. So I was watching what I did this weekend when I wasn't working. I watched all 4 episodes of that Diddy documentary that 50 Cent put out. Remind me never to get on 50 Cent's bad side. This is, okay, I'm going to get into the Marlon Wayans thing, and I'm going to get into what I picked up from the documentary so far. But this is the most gangsta thing I've ever heard anybody doing as far as trolling. 50 did one interview to promote. Well, he probably did a couple more, but he made sure out of all the talk shows, all the morning shows, all the late night talk shows, the one he made sure he did was on ABC. He did one long interview on ABC to talk about the Diddy documentary. And you want to know why he chose ABC? Because the 2 channels, you get 2 channels in every prison in New York. And one of them's ABC. So he wanted to make sure Diddy saw this. I'm like, he's like always thinking 10 steps ahead of the game. I'm like, I would have never thought of that. He wanted to make sure Diddy saw it. The fact that there's only 2, I don't know, I'm sure there's some prisons with more channels, but I don't know what the other one is. I'm sure it's probably like CNN or some kind of news station, maybe the Weather Channel or something like that. But ABC, how did ABC get a contract with all the New York prisons? How did that happen? What happened to NBC? Did they outbid NBC and CBS? But the fact that 50 knew that and did that interview, I was like, oh, he's on another level with the trolling. But then him and Marlon got into it. And I guess Marlon went on an interview and said, 50's got to be careful. You're kicking a black man when he's down. And I saw what Marlon said in totality. It wasn't that bad. I didn't think, but 50 sees something, he's going to run with it. And then he was telling Marlon, keep your name in your mouth. And he started posting white chicks videos. And also Marlon came back at 50. And the whole time I'm watching Marlon and 50 go back and forth, right? And I hope it just stays on the internet. I hope, it doesn't go any farther than that, because 50 is the ultimate troll. But who's their graphics guys? Because Marlon and 50 are coming up with like pictures and Photoshopping and everything. And I don't think they're doing it. I'm like, their team is strong and fast. I'm very happy with my social media team, but they're not as fast as that. And the fact that they're getting it right. I know if I would be in the mix, I would have probably been like, no, you messed that up. You messed that up. The fact that Marlon did the 12 Years a Slave of 50, and then he had 50 and Diddy in the hot tub, and then 50 came back with Marlon with the white chicks, and then he did like an interview. Marlon said, I was like, I've been to Diddy parties, but I didn't see none of that. I left early. Then he's got Marlon sitting there talking to Diddy, and I'm just going, yo, Marlon and 50, your graphics team and your web team is the real winners here, because they're crushing it as fast as they're getting this stuff out. It's like, boom, Marlon posts something, 50 posts something, 50 posts something, Marlon posts something. They're just pop, 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 pop. That's the impressive part. But I don't think I'm on anybody's side, really. I'm cool with Marlon. I'm cool with 50. I'm just enjoying the beef, and I'm not in it. So I'm just watching like a fan. I'm not commenting. This is the only time I'll speak on it. I'm not on anybody's like quote unquote side. I don't think anybody's winning. I'm more impressed with the graphics and your web team as fast as they're getting these comebacks out. It's almost like they're just playing the dozens on social media. But yeah, I would just, and Marlon's quick say, I'm not defending what Diddy did, but I don't really know what the karma thing was about. I think that's what probably set 50 off, was he says karma will come get you, or you don't want karma to bite you in the ass a little bit. And it's interesting though, like to be a comedian, I'm always like, nothing's off limits. I always say that. And Marlon's quick to be like, he don't give a damn about cancel culture. He's going to say what he wants. He's going to do what he wants. But it's interesting that he would choose this to kind of be like, that's too far. 50 went too far with this. I think as comedians, nothing's too far. And I would say that to Marlon, if I saw him, like, nothing's too far. Everything on TV is potential material for comedians, no matter how dark, no matter how twisted, no matter disgusting. Now, there could be repercussions. We saw what happened when, Ari Shaffir, I guess he always did something when people died, the day after they died, and he went after Kobe, and he took a little heat for a little bit. I mean, he's all right now, but you know, if you're going to go there could be repercussions, and you got to be prepared for that. But Marlon's always quick to say nothing's off limits. He doesn't like cancel culture. He wants to say what he wants. If you don't like what he's saying, turn it off. He doesn't care. This kind of goes with that if you think about it. They asked him about the Diddy doc. He gave his answer, but at the same time, you know, nothing's too far. As soon as I saw it, I'm on stage this weekend talking about it. I went up Thursday. I said, I just saw the first episode. Then Friday, I watched the second two. And then Saturday, I watched the fourth. After I watched all four, I really started talking about it on stage. So to me, it's material. It's literally, I called my boy Chanel, who's, you know, does a lot of work with 50. And I told him, he said, yeah, he was talking to 50 about something. And I said, yeah, tell Fifth, thanks for the doc. He just gave me like 10 new minutes of material. That's all I looked at it as. Now, as far as the documentary goes, mind blown by some of the stuff that came out in this documentary. I think a couple things that was shocking. I think back in the day, we all thought Diddy was the good guy and Suge was the thug, the criminal. And Suge did have that element to him. But in the doc, it seems like, I mean, he had thug tactics, but I think he really, from what I gather, was telling people, come to death row because you're going to get paid what these other record labels aren't going to pay you. That seems to be his angle to get these artists. Now, granted, there was some questionable tactics to how he got them, but that's not what the doc was about. Diddy, on the other hand, it's like one of the members of Making the Band. She said it, Babs. Babs said when she got selected for Making the Band, they immediately took her to another room. They gave her a stack of papers like this, said, sign it. You got till tomorrow to sign it. And her lawyer told her, look, you get in the music business to get fame and fortune. This contract and what Diddy's about to do will give you fame, but it's not going to give you fortune. And she goes, yeah, I signed it. I was a bad boy, you know, in my 20s. I never had nobody give me an opportunity like this. And I get it. You got to sign stuff like that. Shoot, I remember my first contract with BET. Oh my God. I can tell you how much I made when I was the host of BET. This is 1998, 99. It was how many episodes? 50. I think it was 48 episodes. Yeah, it was just under 50 episodes. $25,000 is what I got paid. No back end, no residuals, $25,000. And I remember my manager, it was the first offer that came in, right? They offered me the hosting job. And BT's come a long way. This is before they were union and everything else. So the comics were getting like 150 for an appearance. I was the host in 98, 99 season. And I just remember the first offer was $25,000, which was the most money I've ever heard of in my life and seen. And my manager at the time was like, Gary, this is the initial offer. We're going to go back. We're going to negotiate and we're going to get this up. This is just the initial offer. I was like, all right. And then he called me like a week later. He goes, all right, buddy, take it or leave it. They're tough negotiators. I went, oh my God, you're the worst negotiator ever. So when you think about it, we recorded like once a week for like 3 or 4 weeks. No. I'm sorry. We would record 1 week out of the month for like 3-4 months. However many episodes we got, 10 episodes to 15 in a week or whatever. And then, so if you look at it, that was a little over $500 an episode is what I got for hosting BET. 48, 50, let's just say 50. Let's run up to 50. That's 500 episodes. That's it. But you got to look at it like this. Me becoming the host of BET at that time, white guy on a black network, it made me a headliner on the road. So that's where you can make your money. So in that aspect, it did pay off. But you look at it now, I mean, people are getting that per episode on some things. I got it for the whole season. But times were different back then. Is what it is. But I took that $25,000 and I hosted that show that year. And I remember I ended up getting held up with Jamie Foxx when we were filming, and we had to agree. They let me off for like, I think it was 6 of the episodes we were filming. I was supposed to do a live remote from Canada. We were filming the movie. So they did let me out of like 6 episodes. And then I had to come back, and it was funny. I still got all my money. I missed those 6 episodes. But then when I came back, how we did it was we recorded me introducing the comedians for those 6 episodes. And then you never saw me handing them the mic. Like, it'd be like, give it up for Mike Epps. And you'd see me exit, and then the next cut would be Mike Epps on stage. I'm just throwing out a name. And that's how they did it. So it looked like I never missed any episodes, but I did miss like 6 episodes to go film the movie Held Up when we shot it. So, it was like it was a Diddy contract from what it sounds like. You gonna get fame. You'll be on the road as a headliner, but you ain't about to get rich off this contract. I'll tell you that. Hey, this podcast is brought to you by Cash App. Now I'll be the first to admit, I was a little late getting Cash App on my phone. All it is a download. I should have did it a long time ago. Because, in my line of work, a lot of people were like, just Cash App me. Just Cash App me. And I was like, oh, I don't have it. Now that I have it, I don't know why I didn't have it earlier. It just makes it easy. Whether somebody's telling me I got Cash App me. Now I can Cash App them. It actually is, it's a verb. Cash App me. Did you Cash App me? I got your Cash App. Send me your Cash App. It's that easy. So listen, got a call to action here. Cash App just released a new status program for the way people actually spend money called Cash App Green. It unlocks new ways for you to pay, get rewarded, and easily grow or manage your money on your terms. Now, when you spend at least $500 a month with the Cash App card or Cash App Pay, you earn green status, which unlocks benefits like up to $200 of free overdraft coverage, higher borrowing limits, and custom personalized cashback offers every Friday at places you love to shop. Turn everyday spending into status with Cash App Green. Download Cash App today or visit Cash App /new to learn more about this and other great features launching now. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use the code CashApp10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Green overdraft coverage. Borrow cash back offers and promotions provided by Cash App. A Block Inc. brand. Visit Cash App-legal-podcast for full disclosures. Cash App, thanks for being a part of this podcast. It looks like Diddy's whole business model was nobody's going to be more famous than me. And I'm giving you an opportunity, but I don't want nobody being more famous than me, and I definitely don't want nobody making more money than me. And the way he did his homeboy that started Bad Boy with him, and then he came in and strong-armed him to sign over the 25% to him and just screwed him over. And it looks like there was some other sexual activities that he didn't want to get into that just like, man. And I guess Diddy was one of them guys that went after other people's women. And that was a lot. I was like, because I didn't know Ryan Leslie was dating Cassie when she met Diddy. And then Diddy went after her. And then Diddy went after one of Suge Knight's side chicks. I guess Suge Knight had a girl in Atlanta. And Diddy bought her like $50,000, some type of jewelry. And it was more like, it was a flex thing. I can get your girl. I can take your girl. I don't want to be around dudes like that. Listen, we all know dudes that you bring them around, you bring your girl around, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're DMing them. All of a sudden, they're trying to get with them and stuff. You know, I've had guys on the road with me. I had to let them go because they would go after everybody's girl. And I don't know. It's a weird thing. There's got to be a name for that. Guys that go after other guys' girls. Let me see if there's a name for that. Is there a name for guys that go after other guys' girlfriends? Yeah, I want to use ChatGPT. Let's see what it says. They are often called playa, womanizer, homewrecker, stealing girl. No, there's a name for it, I'm sure. That wasn't the name I was looking for. But yeah, the fact that Diddy was one of those guys, I just would not trust him. Would not trust him. The male escort that I didn't get this at all. The crazy part is they kept saying we always did all our rendezvous at the London Hotel. That's like my favorite hotel in New York. I always used to stay there when I went to New York. Now I kind of stay in the Village a little bit. I got friends over there, but whenever I stayed in Manhattan, I always stayed at the London. And I think it's called the Conrad now. I think it's a Hyatt property or Hilton property, but I used to always stay at the London. And I was like, that's the hotel I used to stay at. And the fact that all this dude that they was with for 8 years, that's where he had the rendezvous. There's just some weird, there was so much weird shit with the collecting his semen. For what? Yeah. And the fact that now you're finding out, like, the one that got me, the biggest one that got me out of the whole documentary was Biggie was supposed to go to London the day he got shot. And Diddy was the one that changed his flight. Told everybody, no, we got to change his flight. And they was like, no, he's got to head to London. He's got shows. He goes, no, change his flight. He's going to leave the next day. And he's the one that changed everything and had Biggie stay. And then Biggie died that night. And Biggie didn't want to go to California in the first place. And then did that big extravagant funeral and took the money out of Biggie's account. And Biggie paid for his own funeral. That the money should have went to his family. Or worst case, split the cost. And then did the whole MTV dancing around and brought Sting out. And I'm going, oh, this is another level of dark. If all this is true, this is another level of darkness. And I've only run into Diddy probably 4 or 5 times in my life that we actually spoke. One was at the Think Like a Man premiere. And and a couple times nightclubs in New York and Atlanta. You know, Diddy's having a party, everybody goes. I never went to any of the after-hour house parties, but did go to some nightclubs when he had parties. You'd hear about it and stuff. And I think I was talking to somebody, and they said, like, even with Marlon saying he went to Diddy parties and stuff, most Diddy parties, it was the after hours stuff that shit got weird. The actual party itself, it was like you never know who you were going to see. You would see like the Super Bowl MVP, NBA players, supermodels, David Beckham, Leonardo DiCaprio, guys like that you normally wouldn't see. You'd see at Diddy parties. So I believe Marlon when he said he never saw nothing. He left early. I believe that because I know many people that went to Diddy parties and didn't see the after hour activities. I mean, when I first got to LA, I went to a lot of Hollywood parties and always dipped early. And the couple that I stayed late, it got a little crazy. Not that I indulged at these parties late, but I was like, this is Hollywood. All right, I'm going to keep that between me and God. But I saw some stuff. Not the level of Diddy shit, but I did see some stuff. I was like, okay, I'm in the entertainment business. This is Hollywood. All right. But you got to know that going to those parties about 2 a.m. when everybody leaves, if you ain't trying to indulge in some shit, you should probably leave. You should probably go home. I'm trying to think. There was so much to unpack in this documentary. I don't know how 50 got this footage. They got footage of Diddy, like right before he got arrested. The week before he got arrested, he was in New York. And even then, you could tell how he was spinning it with his lawyers. And then the biggest thing was some of the jurors. Like the one girl was clearly just a fan of Diddy. And I was like, she wasn't going to make him go away for life or be guilty like that. And then the fact that he got like social media people to spin what was going on in the courtroom. And then when it was getting released, some of the jurors like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen in the courtroom. We didn't talk about that. Nobody said that. Like just like 50's 10 steps ahead when it comes to this documentary and trolling people and things like that. Diddy was 10 steps ahead, changing the narrative for this stuff. You know what? And I didn't know this either. I didn't know what really blew Diddy up was that basketball game in the early 90s in New York where like 8 or 9 people died. He threw this big basketball game at a New York college, and there's all the rappers, NBA guys. It was just celeb filled, and they overcrowded it. 9 people died, and Diddy at 19 years old was the one that promoted it and the one that got in front of the cameras to talk about it. And I was like, and then they said, once you see all 4 episodes, you're like, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, because that happened in the early 90s. And then 99 was the shootout that Shine went away. And Diddy was like, I didn't do anything. And then another guy, was it Lil Rod? He was like, he saw Diddy and his son go in a room and shoot some guy. And then he came in and the guy's bleeding out and he's like, get towels. And he called 911 and Diddy's like, this did not happen here. He has so many people in his pocket, like paying people. And even that Lil Rod guy, I felt bad for him. He's like, dude, I was waking up, didn't know what happened. Sometimes Diddy's next to me. He's showing me like sex tapes of this white guy getting violated, getting screwed in the butt. And I'm going, what? It's just some dark shit. And you see like just all this debris left over from Diddy, from Danity Kane to Day 26 to all the guys that are making the band and his assistants. And he just can let people go with no regard. And people were so scared, they didn't want to come out and say anything. And especially if like, it's so easy for people to say, like, if you didn't say nothing in the moment, don't come out now. That's easy to say when your whole livelihood is this guy paying you. Not only the money, but the access you have to things. And I'm not saying it's right. It's not. But it's not that easy. It really isn't. So that, people were scared of him. Like straight up scared of him. You think about it. If he really had something to do with Tupac's death, if he had something to do with Biggie's death, he was trying to go after Kid Cudi. He was like, nah, I can cheat on Cassie, but Cassie ain't cheating on me. I mean, that's a level of God complex that I've never heard of. Yeah, it was a lot. There's a lot to unpack. I'm just giving you the cliff notes. But yeah, watch all 4 episodes. It gave me a whole new outlook on them. And it's like, you could tell even when he was going to go away, before he got arrested, you could tell he was like, he was on the FaceTime with some girls. Yeah, I'm about to put $200 million in the bank. We head to the bank right now. You could tell that's his thing. That's his thing. It's just like, I can't be touched. He was snapping on his lawyers. Yeah. I don't want to be around him. I'm just going to, because when he gets out, there's going to be a party. They're going to celebrate him home, things like that. I'm trying to stay as far away from that dude as possible. There's everybody can't be lying. Everybody. So, and the crazy part about 50 is, people really think he had something to do with Tupac's death, Biggie's death, going after Kid Cudi, the basketball game. There's so many things that Diddy is involved with when it comes to violence and strong arm people to get his way. And 50 the whole time has been going at him. Even when Sean was out, he was the one guy that was like, nah, I don't care. I'm going after Diddy. I'm like, 50's on another level of trolling and not giving a damn. Most people are like, no, I'm not going to go there. Diddy's like, nah. 50's like, nah, I ain't worried about it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know when he's supposed to get out, but yeah. Oh, and then now they think he might have had something to do with Kim Porter passing away, and I don't know, man. That's some weird shit, though. It's a lot of weird. Take all the violence out of it. Just how his brain is wired, like, the male escorts and the shit he had the male escorts doing with Cassie, and I don't know. It's just, and I'm a comedian. There's a lot of things I want to say that I'll say on stage, but I'm not going to say them on the podcast because you guys will cut that up, switch it, flip it, rub it down. Sorry, that was a bad analogy, but yeah, if you want to know what I really think, got to come see me live. This is just me recapping everything. So yeah, this episode was brought to you by 50 Cent, Marlon Wayans, and Sean Diddy Combs. It was a lot. Well, I guess I'll just end with the Bengals. Yeah, let's just segue into that. We're still mathematically alive for the playoffs. You realize how good Joe Burrow is now that he's back. Like, Flacco gave us a little run, but now you're like, oh, Joe Burrow's back. Yeah, he's that dude. And but another season lost, it looks like. It's heartbreaking, man. I had so many high hopes this year coming in. And so it's interesting, like, even this year when the Bengals started the season, they didn't look great the first 2 games. But here we go again in December and heading into January, and the offense, once Burrow got back, clicking. I mean, the Baltimore game and even the Buffalo game, two freak plays flipped that whole game on its head. But I only think the Bengals punted one time. The Bills could not stop our offense. And then Josh Allen just did what Josh Allen does. The team that scares me the most, if I was going to the playoffs right now, I know we're talking about New England, Denver, all that. Houston Texans. That defense, that's the best defense I've seen since the Ravens 25 years ago. They hit. They got D linemen. They got linebackers. They got DBs. As long as the offense doesn't turn it over, the offense, it's very much like the Ravens run right now. Like, remember when Ravens went to the Super Bowl 25 years ago? Trent Dilfer was a quarterback. All they kept saying is, don't turn it over. We got you. They're not going to score more than 17 points. If you can score 20, we're going to win. If you score 14, we'll be in the game. That's all you can guarantee. That Texans defense is good enough to carry them to the Super Bowl. And me now being a Cincinnati Houston transplant, I like to see it. I like being in a city when the team's winning. I'm going to the game this Sunday. I'm off this weekend. They're playing the Cardinals. I just want to see them up close. But that's the team that, to me, scares is a team to beat in AFC. Because I know people are going, like, you're crazy. Look who they beat, though. They beat the Bills, beat them down. They just beat the Chiefs, beat them down. They beat the Jaguars. They're not beating like bullshit teams. They're beating legitimate playoff teams. And I mean, the Chiefs might not make the playoffs, but they're still the Chiefs. The Texans scare me the most because they be hitting hard and they be going after. I mean, that defense from 1 to 11 is the best 11 guys in the NFL right now, top to bottom. There's some defense that might have a better D lineman. I think Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in the NFL. But as far as like 1 to 11, nobody's messing with the Texans. They're pretty good, I'm telling you. So if you like a defensive game, watch them. If you want an offensive game, watch the Bengals. It's the complete opposite is what it is. So, and isn't it nice to see Shedeur Sanders balling? Come on now. Whatever you think of him, his dad got him media trained. The stuff he says, other people would get baited. He don't. When they said, did you like that call? He goes, come on, man. You're trying to start stuff. I can't win that. That's the call. And just like he said with the 2-point conversion, he was like, we run that in practice, and that's what the coach is called. I can't go with it. He is good on the mic. Dion has trained him well of how not to let the media bait you into some clickbait stuff. He talks about himself. He's cocky, but if he's delivering, you can talk. It's Dion's son. I would expect nothing less from Deion Sanders' son. But he is these first couple games. Shedeur is doing better than I thought. I'm happy to see it too. I'm not saying I didn't think he'd do well. I just think a rookie, your first 3 games on a team that isn't really playing for much, you don't know if guys are giving 100% effort. You know, Shedeur's going to get in there and ball out because he's like, I want to show him the starter. But the fact they're naming him the starter for the rest of the year, this drop could have been a blessing in disguise. Because when you're a 5th-round pick, I think they only got you for 2 years, and they got to figure it out the 3rd year if they're going to keep you or not. So if he can finish the season decent, go into next year in Cleveland, and then if he can just ball, if he can just be in the top half of NFL quarterbacks, he's going to make that money. And the teammates love him. And I think it's just old media. They don't like guys boasting about themselves. But look who his daddy is. But I'm happy to see it, man. I'm a Bengals fan, but it's hard not to root for Shedeur. And I sat there and watched the dang Titans-Browns game as I'm watching the Bengals game just because Shedeur was playing. I was going back and forth. I had the Bills and Bengals on the TV, and I had the Browns and Titans on my laptop because of Shedeur. And the Ravens are playing the Steelers. I didn't even watch that game. I just want to see Shedeur, what he was going to do. So, in that aspect, he's doing his job. He's making people watch the Cleveland Browns. And I'll put it like this. If he finishes out the year and they do halfway decent, if they win 1 or 2 more games, and he does what he's been doing, he goes into the starter next year. All the Browns got to do is win 8 or 9 games next year. They're going to name the starter for the next year, and then they're going to get some primetime games because then people are going to want to see Shedeur Sanders play. 5th round sucks your first couple years, but you can get paid earlier than the 1st or 2nd round pick or 3rd round pick. So could have been a blessing in disguise if he balls out, and he's starting. So all these people said, he should have went here, he should have went here. Right now, it's working out for him. It's looking all right. And I'm happy to see it because if you ever meet Deion Sanders in person, he's just a great human being. Great human being. He's confident in himself. He's cocky, but he is just a good dude. And he makes you feel at home. He makes you feel like you're the only person in the room when he's talking to you. And he doesn't take himself too serious. He's not a prima donna like you think. But, you know, if that is your dad and that's how you're raised, you know, Deion was a very active father. You know, his boys know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And they know that the media is going to try to bait them and turn on them. And they don't let it bother them because they know the media isn't real life. They're like, nah, the public will tell you if they like Shedeur or not. And right now, Cleveland loves that dude. I guarantee you that. So kudos Deion, kudos Shedeur, kudos Joe Burrow, baby. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast.
This motherfucker Gary.